Mary's going to stand out there, and if anybody else comes, we'll go direct them in here rather than us having to go up there. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Hello, Doctor.
Howdy. Everybody good?
The meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting according to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code is amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 5 minutes to address the court. Anyone of all of our visitors this morning? No. All right. If not, then we will go to item number 1, which is canvassing the November 3rd general election. All right, and we have, generally what we do is we look at the ballot and seal certificates. Now, the ballot and seal certificates are filled out by the presiding judge at the time the election is ended. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And they have the numbers on here. They sign it as being true and correct. So we take these and we look at a few of them. If you want to look through those, you can look through all of them, but we're going to check some of them to our printed calculations calculated by the computer.
That report right there, Judge, in front of you, has everything combined together. You can see where early voting by mail, early voting in person,
Early voting, election day,
and provisional.
provisional,
And so the other report,
election day. Okay. All right.
so the other report to your right is each individual precinct 1 through 15. If you
The
want to
boxes.
look at it.
It's the
That's
boxes.
correct.
But this is the tally.
Yes, ma'am. And then there's a write-ins if anybody's interested in what the write-ins are.
And I'll start this one with you and we'll pass them back and forth. These are
Republican,
writing.
Democrat, they get, okay, the zeros means that we had paper ballots.
Look at that.
The 103 is how many actual voted, and 5 is how many provisionals.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I saw the last one.
I don't know why he put the Republican and Democrat and all the stuff on there. Some people still get confused that it's not a primary though.
How many total mail-out ballots do we have?
You know, I did not bring that answer. We have only how many mail has been returned on there if you add the two of them.
That's my page over here.
At one time, I think you told me about how many had been mailed out.
Alicia, was it 800 some? I believe so. I'm assuming approximately, yes ma'am, 800-ish that were mailed out. And we did have a lot of canceled ballots where they brought their ballots to the polling locations and canceled it and voted in person.
When you said Democrat and Republican, what was that on those sheets?
Somebody, yes ma'am.
He writes it down. He like going
How would you know?
You don't, that's what I'm saying. They get confused with the
Okay.
primary
Okay,
versus
because I
the
don't know how you
November.
would know if they
You
were
don't.
Republican or Democrat.
You don't.
I don't know. That would have been scary.
38 voted there. That's amazing. That's good.
Okay. Now, these are our 15 boxes, the blue ones that you're looking at. And this one is the
Actual total of the complete election, early and day of.
How many of them?
And we had total votes of 8,756,
Yes, ma'am.
received and counted 602, 52 mail-in. Early voting 5,914, election day was only 2,159, and that's just the total numbers, plus a few provisional.
That's correct.
Working
I'm
in.
gonna pass
Yeah,
this
it
to
is.
you. That's
Can I turn it off?
Please.
No, it's have to take it out. Please,
Is that okay?
So there were, on this thing, there were 5,914 people early
early
voting,
voting.
and mail-in was 652. And on election day, only 2,159 voted.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna let you look
So-
at these. This is the write-in ballots.
Judge, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Linda, do you know how many mail-in ballots were rejected?
We don't, what do you mean rejected?
You got in 652 mail-in ballots and they went through, were they all received and good, or did they reject some?
I'm assuming that is the ones that were counted, the 652. So how many, is that correct?
That's correct. That's
So how many
correct.
above that number did you receive and were not able to count?
I did not get a number of how many were rejected.
Rejected.
That's something
And
the early
these-
voting ballot board tends to, and I don't
Okay,
get those numbers from them and stuff.
okay, I was just curious.
Yes, sir.
I'll get you a copy of that if you'd like. And then after we've looked at those, we're gonna match some of these that the election judges filled out. We're gonna match them to our precinct printouts, box printouts. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm laughing about after. Well,
Mickey Mouse?
Almost.
almost,
Okay.
yes, as a write-in, yeah,
Yeah. U.S. Senator.
for U.S. Senator,
How
yeah.
about you?
How many total write-ins did we have? We didn't have any, so he may have put that on there.
I bet I know who did that. And I prayed his kid to me.
Imagine that.
So we got 652 physical
Mail-ins
mail
that were
back.
actually counted.
Yeah, and we mailed 2,000 something out.
No, about 800.
800, okay.
That's 7 write-ins.
That's someone I recognize.
Mm-hmm. Senator Turner. What we gonna look at next, Linda?
We're gonna, after he looks at these blue sheets, the ones that the judges prepared, after he looks through those, then we're gonna compare some of those to our printouts here by box. I don't know how else that we canvass, other than, we don't actually look at the ballots unless there's a request from one of the persons that's on the ballot, or from whoever.
You know, that deal over at the state school, I guess everybody heard about that.
Mhm.
You know, county election, that would
You want,
make your
We
break.
don't have to,
if you'd like to look through those, you can. But you know, from the things you're hearing, it does raise some concern about the election machines, and of course, the one that they're talking about is not the ones that we use, but they said they've had problems with various different companies. Hopefully, the new ones that we're getting, they will be printing out your sheet after you vote. Print out your sheet, you look at it, it's correct, and you go put it in the other machine for it to calculate them. So,
provisional ballots, is that the ones that were questionable? So how do we know how many of those were counted and how many weren't? Do we know that?
well, I think if they're on this sheet, then they are counted, we're counted.
There was 31 counted out of 81.
Out of 81, so 50 of them were rejected.
Yes, ma'am.
Those weren't mail-in, but those were provisional that were rejected,
Wow.
for whatever reason.
It's very seldom that provisionals are normally counted. You're in the wrong precinct, you're not registered to vote, you registered too late. There's, you know, you've got to qualify in order to do it. The way that provisionals are done, the judge fills out on the left side of the envelope, stating why they voted provisional. On the right side of the envelope, the voter registrar writes in what she has come across to see, if they've already voted early and returned their ballot or whatever the issues are. She makes her notations, and the early voting ballot board comes and reviews them, and then they make the choices, you know, to which ones are counted and which ones are not. That's the process of well, it's called early voting ballot board, that deals with the provisionals.
You said we had no problems with our machines this time, is that right?
Seemed like they went very well. We did have a few batteries that the gentleman that was here had to go out and change batteries, those types of things.
Those rechargeable batteries on those things?
They are supposed to be charging as when they're plugged in, so when you say rechargeable, yes, sir, I agree that they're that way, but they get so old that they are not chargeable after a period of time, and we don't know what time.
Now, like when they come pick them up to take them out there to the voting boxes like a day ahead of time, they plug them up, the
We
judges
keep-
plug them up, and then that charges the battery?
Yes, sir, it's supposed to be keeping them going when they charge, when it's plugged in, it's supposed to continue to the battery, yes, sir.
Because I'm sure when they're sitting in your building, not being used, the batteries are just sitting there, I mean, they're
You
not.
have them plugged in though when they're sitting there, is that right?
Not, no, they do not recommend that they're plugged in. We do it approximately about a month ahead of time.
Y'all plug them in about a month ahead of time?
Approximately, yes, sir. When you're looking at early voting, you'll take early voting Tig and early voting Fairfield, add those together, and that'll equal the early voting.
Okay.
That's kind of confusing there.
This is early voting.
And there's a committee or somebody that makes a decision on provisional ballots, whether they're counted or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm on the right spot now. All right, for Fairfield 1, there was a total of 293, according to the blue sheet, and on our computer printout, we have the 293. Now, on the blue sheet that the judge filled out, it shows how many provisionals were cast, but on our sheet, provisionals, it only shows the ones that actually were counted in the count. So this is going to be different. The blue sheet's going to be different from what we have on our, and I'll say this out loud now.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
I'm there.
what
No, I turned it off. I said, oh, no,
Yeah, it's cold in here.
I just missed it one notch. I'm sorry.
I
told you to do it.
Now, number 3, box 3, I'm sorry, voting box 3, we had, this shows 74, but we actually show 76 on our computer printout.
Yes, there's nothing unusual to be 1 or 2 off, that they probably didn't get their count exactly right. They have, 2 and 3 and 5 machines that they add the votes up, I guess, by hand. So it's not unusual to be 1 or 2 off if their count does not get added exactly right. I believe there was just 2 precincts that even had that issue.
Okay.
What was early vote night? Did I miss it over at food with the air conditioner on T? Did you do that? You ain't got there.
No, I'm just doing the election day ones right now. I can pass this to you and you can see.
Well, you said Fairfield was 293.
That was voting in person that day on these blue sheets.
Okay,
And that for Fairfield 1 was 293.
right.
Mhm. Box 5, 255. Box 6, 143. 188. What does this mean on the bottom here, Red Barn?
We don't have a clue what they write on there. We don't know what that means at all. They have their own little notes on there that we do not know what that meant.
Okay. The numbers are red.
It could have been their red seal number that they wrote down. Is it a,
Did you have someone that came in to vote and they said it showed that they had already voted?
well, if they go in to try to vote and their mail ballot's already returned, then yes, they can tell on the poll book.
But if they looked on the poll book and saw that they had already voted, did you have anybody? No?
That would be a question for a judge to ask.
Okay.
We wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know that.
We did have that one time where someone went in to vote and it said it showed that he already voted.
Right.
That was several years ago, but. Okay, this is another one where it shows 38, but only 37 was on here.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll add that. 88, 97. All right. All of the total votes that are on the blue sheets, which are the ones that the election judges sign, except for those 2 little discrepancies, which is 1 vote on 1 and 2 on sheet that has the totals on it.
I believe it's over at Andy's.
I'm sorry?
I believe Andy.
I've got it.
Oh, okay, go right ahead. I could have shuffled it in here accidentally.
Do you see where they marked a number out and corrected it?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's fair number two.
All right. All right. Yes, I did not see that because it was marked out down here and changed. So totaling the two early voting places, that does match also on account on our computer printout. All right, if anybody has any questions? All right. Matching these two, that's the way that we usually, well, that's the way we always do the canvas, is matching what the judges have to the totals that we have on our computer printouts. And other than those few little discrepancies, I believe they match as well as we're going to be able to match them. So do we have a motion to approve the canvas?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. All right. Any comments from Commissioners Court?
We lost a good road commissioner about 10 days ago. John Stubbs, Warden.
I did not
Oh,
hear
really?
that.
Very glad so we could go yesterday.
Really? Oh,
I think it was in here 3 terms.
Live here, yeah. Sure was.
all right. Is there anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
If not, is there a second to adjourn?
Can I make it?
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor, aye. We're adjourned.